Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to this week's episode of Guns and Cameras. You know, ever since the beginning of filmmaking or visual storytelling, the ability to safely portray dramatic and exciting and dangerous events like explosions or combat on top of running trains or war films, right, that involve dangerous stunts have required people with the proper training and expertise to be able to perform said stunt safely and effectively, mitigating any potential damage to your star-studded cast. Concept is this: your principal talent, your face, your actor, is kind of irreplaceable, especially once you started rolling film. And so instead of risking their physical well-being and their ability to perform as the character, you bring in a stunt double or somebody who closely resembles that actor or talent in stature, who is trained and knows how to break fall, take punches and kicks, dodge explosions, or be pulled around by cords violently. Stuntmen, right? Case in point, my stunt double Josh has been doubling me for quite some time now. Josh, say hello. Hey, what's up, guys? Glad to be here, Josh. Thanks for having me. In today's example, Josh will bravely walk out into the street as he is doing right now, and on action will dodge some kind of vehicle. Could be a projectile, could be a train, could be a bus, could be a helicopter. We editors haven't quite decided yet. But on action, he will dodge said vehicle and or not, and take the blow for me so I can continue to perform for you. So, you ready, Josh? Here we go. Cameras rolling, lights, sound, action. Ooh. That actually looked like it might have hurt a little bit. Thanks for taking that one for me, buddy. You guys, I'm excited to introduce this week's guest. He is a Hollywood stuntman that's worked on films like Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, Rebel Moon, Avatar 3, and many more. He is also a director and a DP, but more importantly, he's also a combat veteran. So while I go check on Josh and make sure he's okay, you guys enjoy this week's episode of Guns and Cameras. Shooters, are you ready? Stand by. Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of the Guns and Cameras podcast. I'm your host, Joshua Best, and today we have with us a very special guest. This man is a stuntman, a TV and filmmaker, a director, a DP, and a combat veteran. We have with us tonight Mr. Michael Brown. Mike, thanks for being on the show with us tonight. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
So grew up in Los Angeles, California, born and raised. Signed up for the military in 2004. My job was doing intelligence, targeting. So I was embedded with naval special warfare most of my career. Worked in East Coast team, West Coast team, East Coast team. Did some time at development group. Got out in 2018. Finished my degree in business, and then during that time, COVID hit. And right before that, I actually picked up a camera and just started walking around and taking photos. It was more so like a therapy session for me. It was a way just to get out and just find some type of peace. During that, it kind of grew. It led me into business having me come on and start doing all the content creation. I did everything from like liquor bottles to stuff at NCAA, Iowa State, to local companies, including my buddy's company DSG, who I still do content for on the side. So I just hop around, did a plethora of stuff. This stuff for like a big medical device company worth billions of dollars. That was pretty insane. Helped on a documentary for like SpaceX, pilotized space flights to the International Space Station, all that. And then during all this time, I was helping a buddy out for a script, and I met a stunt coordinator there, and he basically opened this door. He's like, "Hey, you ever thought about doing stunts?" And I kind of like, "No, never thought about it. Never crossed my mind. I heard about it. Sounds cool." But I said yes to a couple small jobs, and that led to me doing my first film was Black Panther: Wakanda Forever.
No
And
way.
kind of
That's
from
what's
there it took off, and I was a part of the water unit. So all the scenes you see in there, we were doing free diving to create them, and so we had freedom of movement to create these scenes from what the director, his idea, what the script was, and he let us have at it, and we just got to create some pretty cool things. And then from there, just dove into stunts, worked on Rebel Moon was stunt double, TV show, SEAL Team, worked on video games like Call of Duty, doing the motion capture.
Dude.
Currently working on the new Daredevil series, Board Again.
Oh,
So
cool.
working on that right now. So actually, I leave to New York tomorrow to go back on that. So that's been pretty fun. So I've done some pretty fun stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, holy smokes. That sounds incredible. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So when you were in doing DevGru stuff, were you like doing JTAC stuff? Is that kind of what you're doing?
No, I was Intel collector. So
Okay.
my main thing was targeting. So we're
Okay.
targeting HBIs, building out terrorist cell networks, individuals, assisting with hostage rescue missions and all that, and running all the collections. And so I was embedded with a squadron, and yeah, every squadron has an intel team, and they work for their guys and help them make magic happen. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what was that? So you talked a little bit about how when you got out, you picked up a camera and it kind of became therapy for you. Can you unpack that kind of transition just a little bit more?
Yeah, so when I was getting out, it was just, I wasn't in the best place mentally or physically. I know it's pretty common with a lot of veterans. My time in was mostly just deploy, since I was directly attached to NSW. And at the time, it's not really known about is that there was always a small contingent of guys, it could be intel, TACI Ws, K9 handlers, comms guys, whoever it was, that were embedded with the team and basically did your whole workup cycle, and you're there with the guys. Like your primary role is whatever your rate was. Like maybe you have a rate. So I'm an intel guy. I'm helping running targeting missions. That's my primary role. But at the same time, it's like if you're embedded with a platoon and you're out in the middle of nowhere, we're doing those stability operations, then like everyone matters. That's at the platoon. There's only like maybe 32 of us at a site. So if we get attacked, everyone's participating. Like we're doing patrols and doing all that. Like I said, my direct role wasn't to be out there running and gunning. My job was to do collections and assist in the targeting efforts of what was sent down to us from the commander. But did all that, did 5 deployments, was pretty beat up after a couple 12-monthers, Iraq, Afghanistan, and all that. And I was actually on shore duty my last couple of years, and I was just like, I'm just not happy anymore. And all I knew was the military, this chapter is closing. Like it's not for me anymore. My heart wasn't in it, and it was time to move on. What I was going to do, I had no idea, but I was like, well, I'll figure it out and see what happens. And so at the time, I bought a camera to help out a buddy for a marketing company. And I just started, I was like, well, I don't learn this. I just went on YouTube University, started seeing what people were doing. I just started walking around and just shooting. And during that time, I met a buddy of mine when I was on a work trip, actually, assisting with a guy's piece of content. And I asked, hey, can I shout at you guys? Because they were like doing some pretty cool stuff. And that helped me out a lot to just start getting my bearings of what actually is like shooting something, like telling the storytelling, which I think a lot of people, when they get into it, they don't really jump into. They just snap away. But it's like, well, why am I shooting this picture? Why am I shooting this video? What story can I tell with every frame that I'm doing? But I realized that as I was doing this, like my passion for it was growing, and I was like, I would do this for free if I could. You know, like any job that came to me, I would just take. And for me, I was like, this is where I need to be now. And now I was going to figure out how to make this become like a living for myself.
What year was that when you got out and started shooting?
I got out in 2018, but I started shooting in 2017, actually. So it was just, it was like a year out. And I honestly wasn't planning on doing that as a career. I was doing some time at VC firms, marketing places, and all that. Because my degree's is in business, marketing and administration. So that was kind of like my pathway ahead. And it's kind of like an ego thing, because I was like, how am I going to come from doing what I used to do, working at some of the best studios you can, working on some of the finest wars the country has, to like, hey, what do you do now? I'm like, oh, I take pictures and do video, right? So I had to like swallow my pride and be like, you know what, like this is what makes me happy. This is what fills my cup. This is what, like, I can wake up at 2 a.m. and I gotta shoot. I'm like, all right, let's go knock it out. Like, I'm happy to do it. It doesn't matter what time of day, what the conditions are, I'm down to do it. And so I knew, like, okay, this is the journey that my next chapter of my life is going to be about.
No, the thing is, I think it's cool that you ended up kind of pivoting in that direction, because I was going to ask, my next question was, did you use in intelligence and recon stuff, did you shoot or use cameras at all when you were in service, or was that something else, or was that somebody else?
Not so much. The only time that I ever picked up a camera while I was in was we were doing some training up in the mountains, and I was embedded with a platoon, and the whole training was reconnaissance, and I was pick up their cameras, use them sometimes, but like I was just there to do like the targeting stuff and like hand out like, hey, here's a guy we're looking at, here's control air assets or request them and all that. So I wasn't really like in there trying to like shoot anything, but I always play with them. But that was it. Like I never came about.
That's cool. Like, cause I was down in the South, and we were talking to. I was going down to shoot with the Hooten and Young guys. And this was in South Georgia, right? And when we got there, there was a whole bunch of guys. There was a couple of Delta guys, some CIA guys, and then there was a couple of SEALs. One of the guys, I think his name, and I don't know if this is right. I've been trying to find this guy for a while. I think his name was like Oi.
Oi?
Or some Oi. It was a different name. I was trying if this is your name, buddy, I'm sorry if I'm butchering. If you're watching this. But as soon as we got in there, I came in with a bunch of camera gear. It was like about 9 o'clock at night, and it was raining, and we were shooting. And then as soon as everything kind of settled down and we were chilling, he came over and was like, "Hey, man, like, are you using Sony's?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm using Sony's."
Yeah.
And he's like, "That's awesome. That's the same cameras, like same type of cameras we used when I was doing recon stuff." And we started talking camera gear. And he was also going to pivot as he was getting out. Nice. He was like, he was helping with some contracting stuff at the time, but he was like, once I'm done with contracting, he's like, I think I might start a photo video production company.
Nice.
Right? But his idea was to shoot and document like extreme bachelor parties.
Story everywhere. You gotta find it.
Yeah, because his whole thing was like, he's like, I'm jump certified and all that, and he's like, I think it'd be cool to shoot guys doing bachelor parties, jumping out of planes and doing crazy, like, just big bachelor party stuff. And I was like, oh, that sounds great. So maybe if he's out there doing it, I'll have to see if I can.
Good for him. He found it. That's also right. It's funny because at the team I was at, they had all Canons, Canon cameras, Canon glass.
Cool.
Everything was just Canon, and so my first camera was a Canon. I went over to Sony.
Nice. That was my next question. What was the camera you bought when you
It was a Canon. What was it? It was I still have it actually. It's in storage, but it's an older Canon. I was just like, it wasn't anything too crazy. Like I had some pretty cool people, like really talented guys I still talk to this day, that taught me so much. And a lot of it was like I would go on sets and it's just like, I'm going to teach you lighting. Like, you need to learn lighting. A lot of guys think it's the camera. It's not the camera. It's lighting. Give me your iPhone. I can shoot something really good. I have good lighting. And so that was like, he taught me how every type of light there was, from setting up cranes to do overhead lights to just a little aperture light, two stand lines, 3 lights, some kicks, some fill, and all that, to lighting a whole room, lighting a whole warehouse, cars, whatever you can. And so from there, kind of like, I would use that on my own, and I'll start like DPing my own projects. But it gave me, what was good about it is that it gave me an understanding of behind the camera in all aspects, right? Camera, lenses, lighting, and all that. So when I'm in front of the camera, like, I understand what's happening behind the camera. I can go talk to the cinematographer and be like, hey, like, what's your focal length? Okay, cool. So if I'm throwing the punch, I know that I don't need to be like throwing from way back here. I know all you're seeing is just a headshot. Or if it's on a 35, I know he's wide. So my whole body needs to be in motion. Needs to, and I wear my frame down for him, so you can catch all that along with the person I'm doing whatever sequence we're working on for that time.
Yeah, no, that's huge. I'm trying to do more in front of camera work myself.
Yeah.
I've got some acting background, but I'm in Spokane, dude. There's like the most I've done is like I think I did like a couple of small commercials during COVID and some other things.
Yeah.
And a lot of voiceover work, which has been fun, but I'm trying to move. I want to be able to do both, right?
Yeah.
And it's huge because like what you just said, having a technical understanding of how your lenses work, how the lightings work, how the camera runs helps you in your visual performance in front of camera because you get it, you understand.
Yeah, it's it's funny. A lot of guys usually start in front of camera and then they exit behind camera. I started behind camera, doing in front of camera, but I still do both. Like I'm still shooting my own projects as well as still doing all the stuff performing and some acting stuff here and there. Cool.
So let's go back. So you just got your first camera. It's Canon. You're starting to do projects. What was your first? So first off, a couple of questions. So I apologize. I'm going to try to put these together. So, where did you start? Like, what was the first kind of thing you started shooting? Not paid, not for just for you, right? And then what was your first like paid gig that kind of got you into this like?
So I would shoot anything that I was doing, and my friends, like they know they are, I would bug them too. I would shoot like my buddy's dog. I would shoot if I went on a hike, like we did Mount Whitney. I shot the whole trip, which was miserable to carry a Canon and a lens and everything else you need up there for 3 days.
Yep.
I would shoot just cars. I would just shoot anything, everything, and it gave me an understanding of like how to shoot all these various things. And I think my first paid gig was shooting a conference. Actually, I didn't shoot the whole conference, but this guy who was like a mentor for me. So I went through the Honor Foundation, and he was one of the coaches there, and he was doing a speaking gig, and so I filmed him with his company doing a speaking gig at a conference. Cool. And that was like my first like paid gig, I believe. Yeah.
That's the thing. Conferences can be challenging, and the thing about event stuff is they usually pay pretty well, but it's the most weird thing to shoot.
Yeah, it is.
You know what I mean?
So many moving parts.
There's zero room for like creative, artistic look. It's kind of like here's a guy talking on a podium. Like that's all you get to do.
Yeah. I started with that. That was my first gig, and that's where I met my buddy Brad, who's great guy, great storyteller, and I started working with his crew. Yeah.
That's awesome. So, okay, now let's kind of fast forward to Stuntman stuff. Mm-hmm. So, you got roped into doing stunts. You said one of your first stunt roles was in Wakanda Forever. Take us through your mindset. So you're getting into stunts, and then all of a sudden you get this role. What are you thinking in your head once you land that?
So the story is
that's pretty big.
Yeah. So I did a couple small projects before then, for like Apple TV and a couple other things, and then I started training free diving. I just started doing it just because I needed something else to do. We were doing COVID, and I'm like, that's another challenge. Like, just go learn a free dive. And doing that, the stunt coordinator Chris Dennison, he was like, hey, I think this is something if you're serious about doing stunts, I think I have a role for you. And I was like, all right, like, didn't tell me what it was. I'm like, all right, I'm down for whatever, like, let's do it. So I started training up with him, and then he told me what it was for the new Black Panther. And I'm like, it's crazy because the director, Ryan Coogler, is one of my favorite directors prior to me even getting into stunts. And I think he's an amazing storyteller. Like, his first big film was Fruitvale Station, like, amazing movie. And so it tells me what it was. And during this time, I'm not SAG, I'm not anything. I'm not a Screen Actors Guild. I'm just some random dude from nowhere. And he's like, I'm going to try to get you on it. Basically, the previous team, we can go from there. I'm like, okay. It doesn't happen. It goes away. There's whatever is going on in Atlanta. They're like, hey, we don't need guys out here and all that. And it's kind of a funny story, but he's like, hey, I guarantee they're going to realize that shooting in the water is not as easy, and you need a whole unit to do it. Chris's background, amazing guy, was in motocross, got into stunts, and was working on Avatar. And Avatar took years and years, especially all the underwater stuff. So with those guys, they almost basically mastered how to shoot in water properly, which is extremely difficult. He's like, don't be surprised if we get a call in a couple months about, hey, like, we need guys to come out here and do this. I'm in Hawaii, I'm done a hike, I get back, I get a voicemail, hey, call me back ASAP. I call, he's like, hey, remember I told you 2 months ago? I'm like, yeah. He's like, it's on. I said, I need you to send me a headshot, I need you to send me a resume, send all this stuff. I'm going to put your name in. Like, they need your type of look, your type of skill set. And so I wasn't SAG, I had to be called Taft-Hartley, which is basically like, it's a fast track to basically you get a SAG contract and you're SAG eligible after that.
Crazy.
Yeah, all that gets approved, and within, I think it was like two weeks, I'm finishing up a shoot in Iowa. I leave my Iowa shoot and just fly down to Atlanta, and I'm kind of just like, I don't know what I don't know, right? So I'm just going down there like, all right, I guess, we're going to start this job. And the funny part is being in the military for so long, when you have to get your flights and travel and all that, you do it yourself, right?
Okay.
So you set your hotel up, you set your transportation up, you do it all yourself, and then you put on your government travel card, you set it up to DTS, that's a pain, and then you do your trip, you get reimbursed. You do it all yourself. I'm getting ready to go out there, and I'm thinking, that's what I have to do probably. So I start calling around, trying to book my flights and all that. Production calls me, and I'm telling them, well, I'm trying to book my flights. They're like, no. Like, just tell us where you're at, and we're going to fly you here. Okay, and then like, we'll get a car for you. Here's the hotels to pick from. Just pick one. We'll book it all for you. So I'm like, oh man, like I've never been treated like this, right? Like,
you're like right away. This is the Ritz right away, man.
Yeah, fly you first class. You walk up, like bypass everything. Just walk up to this person, tell them on this production 2.0, but give you your keys, head out, and then book your hotel and get ready to start working. All right. And so it was just like this insane like experience that I just didn't know what to expect. And it was pretty nuts that just driving to work, I'm like, yeah, I'm driving to work on Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, which at that point in time had so much like publicity because, Chadwick Boseman passing away, and it was like, who's the new Black Panther, right? We all know who it is, and we can't say anything. Like, I would have people writing me emails like, hey, can you like tell us what's going on, all that. Like, no, like Disney does not play with NDAs or anything like that. You've seen guys get fired on set, like they don't play. So it was just a crazy experience to be as my first film, all that.
You got to take us through, first day. So you're driving there, you're walking onto set or whatever. I'm assuming it's a set. You're in Atlanta. Take us through the first day and what that was like.
So yeah, our hub actually was Tyler Perry Studios, which is a beautiful studio, and we had this huge take. So I drive in, check in, and it's only like a few of us actually. It's only a handful. Chris, the riggers, buddy Anthony. It's like 6 or 7 of us, and Chris comes up to us, the stunt coordinator for the water unit. He's like, here are kind of the scenes we have. Let's start designing. So we just changed into our wetsuits and all that, or whatever we got to be in the water with. And we just said, well, how would this scene look? And we're like, I think the first thing we had to do is like an underwater fight. Like we get kicked off this platform, we start fighting in the water, which is very different than doing it on land because how things actually play in camera. And it's just like, I'm just here we're here like with the script, and we're like, here's what we got to film today for the previs, and it has to be sent up to the director and producers for approval. Every day sent up for dailies. They want to see what you guys are working on, type deal. And that was kind of like the first day. It's just like, wasn't a lot of us, just a few of us in this tank. It was like, I think 20 feet deep. And yeah, we just started going to work and creating scenes.
That's crazy. So you guys in the moment are choreographing these fight scenes underwater.
Yeah. So every movie you see that has a lot of stunts in it, especially if it's a big stunt movie, you previs everything. according to the script, like what's the story is, and we create all the action. And yeah, you just have this freedom of movement to create, and then hopefully the director and production says, we like it, keep it, cool, move on to the next one type of deal.
Crazy. Yeah. So after that, so you work on Wakanda Forever, and now you're a SAG certified, right?
Yeah.
Stuntman. What then from there? So, because you now have multiple irons in the fire. You're also director, DP. You're making your own work, but now you're also a certified stuntman. So, how did all of these things play together for you in your career? Are like, kind of take us through that a little bit.
Meaning, like how I managed doing both, or?
Yeah, so like, did you go straight from Wakanda Forever to like another stunt gig, or did you go from there to like a cool down period and you're going back to work for yourself, or how did all of that?
So like, even though I landed that movie, like within the community, like I'm like like a one punch chop. Like, I didn't do anything. I worked on one film, and so like you have some amazing stunt performers who've been in like 15, 20 years, and like. These are the guys that are working on every project, doing all these crazy designs, action design, and all that. So for me, it was like, well, what's next? Like, I really have no idea. Like, how do I get a job? Because we don't have agents, we don't have representation. It's on you as a performer to train, to grow your skill sets, and to get your name out there to the stunt coordinators, to other stunt performers, and to build a reputation in the community. Like, hey, this is a reliable person. Here's their background. Let's hire them. And so you have to prove yourself. And for me, it was, what did I do next? I think I did, actually, it wasn't the Old Man, actually. I did like a day on the Old Man. And then a buddy of mine who I met on Black Panther dropped my name in for another project. And that's kind of how it happens. You know,
a lot of word of mouth.
It's a lot of word of mouth. And it's like, usually it's like, if you're a new guy, it's like, hey, can you take this reaction? Hey, you're a bad guy, you're a good shot, you're a bad guy number 100, I'm gonna shoot you, take the reaction, take the hit, take the fall, and keep doing it 20 times until we have a scene. Like, that's what you're gonna be doing. And that's what a lot of it is too. And so you have to earn that, basically, the reputation. Like, hey, I can trust this guy. Hey, I need you to fight the lead actor and make sure like you're gonna keep him safe, you're gonna crush the performance, sell it, but not get him hurt or yourself hurt, and do it over and over and over. So those are like the top guys who are, you can trust with like a big name and not getting them injured.
Man, that's tough. That's crazy how that.
Yeah.
Because that's one thing that I've always, I'm a big kung fu movie fan. I like old school Jackie Chan stuff, and I was watching some stuff before, and I'm like, back in the day, I mean, they still pulled the punches. They're not like full on clobbering each other, but they actually made contact. I don't think you can do that anymore.
Yeah, well. So there's some leeway in how you can make contact. Like, obviously, I'm not going to just blast someone in the face, but in certain aspects, like if I'm going to take like a gut shot or a stomach punch, like I actually prefer to have a little contact because it actually helps me sell the reaction. I'm not trying to get blasted, but like, hey, like if you're with a good performer, like, hey, like make contact. I trust them. We'll do it. We'll run the scene, and then we'll make the contact. But yeah, you're taking like a fall. Sometimes you're taking fall on concrete, and you got to do it, so you have to learn how to fall properly to save yourself so like you can do it, 10, 15 times for that take, and then be back the next day and do another action sequence of taking the fall, so.
Dude, that's crazy. That sounds like a good time though. It's probably pretty fun. I imagine being on a set for a production like that. I mean, I would imagine it's hard to have a bad day. But
yeah, it's hard.
You get injured, but
yeah.
What was that movie that came out recently that was all about stuntman? I'm trying to remember the name.
Fall Guy.
Yeah, Fall Guy. Did you watch that?
Yeah, watched it.
What'd you think?
It was good. It's fun. It's cool because it's like it's a love letter to stunts, and like, I've been in stunts now for a few years, so it's been cool to see and start understanding the stunt industry, like the original stuntman, who they were, and then now you have all these second and third generation stuntmen, and these people who's built up this reputation and an amazing art that's represented in the films, and now recently has an Oscar category finally, which is pretty nuts. Like they never had one prior, but it's there now. But it was cool watching the Fall Guy because you're seeing your friends do some pretty crazy stunts. Like my buddy Troy Brown, who did the helicopter fall. Like that's insane. Like it's nuts how high he was, what he did, nailed it, one take, got it. And the story behind that's pretty cool. Him and his dad. Seeing the guys do all like the car flips. Like, I think the most like flips in the car. Like it's cool. I'm happy to see it. Like see
that's,
that.
Yeah, that's I think one of the things that I love about again filmmaking as an industry is just it's all the stuff that happens behind the scenes, the communities, the groups, the teams, all the history, right? That kind of stuff right there, exactly. Of being like, hey, this stunt is going to go down in history as being awesome because of the technical difficulty of it, and being able to crush it in one take is huge, right?
Yeah.
So for you personally, to date in your stunt career, we're going to move on from stunts, I think, after this, but big question in your career in stunts, what's been the craziest stunt that you've done personally? And tell us that story.
I'm trying to think. I remember I had to do a scene in Black Panther. It was a previs. It wasn't even in the actual final edit, but it was like we had to get a 6-minute breath hold. And we were just showing how we would live underwater because I was helping create the scenes for like the telekineals who were the underwater people. But my actual role, I actually played a Wakandan, a Wakandan Navy sailor. I never even get to play my original part, but yeah, I did like I think it was like 5 or 6 minute breath hold for a scene just to show how we live underwater. And then I think Rebel Moon, I was doubling one of the actors on there. If you've seen it, he's a shirtless dude. And I had to get thrown into a wall. I was riding this like fake, in the movie it's not a bird, I forgot what they call it, but
yeah, I was gonna say I've watched Rebel Moon and I know. I think
so. There's that scene where he's on like the flying, I don't know, whatever it is, and he's thrown into a wall and then he jumps off. So since I'm shirtless, I can't wear any pads. So I had to take the hit over and over and over and over. And so that was pretty like and like I'm being launched off this thing. They're hand cranking it and it's on track and it just stops. So I'm just riding momentum, and it's not like it's all technical because I had to hide my face from camera so that we can basically place the actor in to where he basically does like the switch, and it's going to be him that's running off. So we see is me on it, thrown to the wall, and then it cuts to him. But like by the end of that one, like my whole left side was just like pretty beat up and all that. But
dude,
it comes with the territory. There's our stunt coordinator, Freddie Borciegas, took care of me. Great dude. So like it is what it is, and like I could take it. It was fine. So yeah.
Yeah, I see this picture. I see this like video or photo up on your Instagram of you in the. I think this is you in the costume.
Yeah, I had to lean out.
You look just like the guy. It's crazy.
I had to lean out. That whole story was actually pretty crazy. I won't go into it, but the hard part was I had to short notice. I had 48 hours basically to pick up the stunt double roll and start cutting weight. And that it's a pretty insane story. But yeah, and I had to cut all this weight because I was walking around like maybe 205, 210. The actor was knocked back. He's just lean and just shredded.
Yeah, lean guy.
And I was just like, oh man, this is gonna hurt. So I was on an extremely strict diet, just cutting weight.
48 hours.
No carbs. There was no carbs.
Yeah, okay.
And it was performing in Santa Clarita, peak of summer, 100 plus degrees.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, dude. That's crazy. So, but dude, I gotta imagine that's got to be like, again, I think Fall Guy does a great job of that film of like kind of showing that transition of being like, okay, so you just got drugged through a wall, and then it's like, okay, cut, and then you gotta swap out with the actor guy. Is there? Do you ever have that handoff that's like, yo, you're welcome, I just took that hit for you?
Yeah, it's kind of funny. Like usually the actors are like, they're supporting you. They're like, thank you. Because I didn't want to do that. You know?
No kidding.
You get some actors like, hey, I want to try it. You're like, all right, like depending on what the stunt is and all that, how safe can we keep them? Because it's not that they're not capable of doing it. It's like if an actor gets hurt, then they can't do their primary job, which is to act. Like we're there to take the beatings for them, right?
Right.
But there are a guy like the guy that I doubled on Rebel Moon, like he was great. Like he did a lot of the action himself. We just trained him up, got him up to par, and then hey, if I need to step in and take like a hit or a fall, whatever, I'll take it. So he can do his role is to be the character, like doing his dialogue and all that. So, but yeah, it's pretty funny sometimes. Like using the swaps, so like, all right, your turn.
Dude, that's awesome. I love it. So, okay, so let's now transition into your storytelling, your filmmaking. So stunt stuff is happening. At the same time, how are you growing, and what are you working on as a storyteller with working your own projects?
Yeah, so most of my stuff leading up, let's say the past couple of years, was a lot of like content creation. And it was a lot of like promo stuff, social media stuff for companies and all that. And being in stunts, it actually made it hard to try to do both. But the past couple of years have been pretty difficult in our industry because of the strike, COVID and the strike, and then it's just been like this like lull period, and things are slowly picking back up. I made a shift that I was like, you know what, I want to strictly just start doing storytelling and narrative stuff. And I was like, where do I want to begin? And ironically, when I got out, I didn't shoot that much military stuff or gun stuff. I kind of purposely stayed away from it, only because I know that lifestyle, I know that stuff. Let me see things outside of that. It's kind of the same thing in stunts. Like I wanted to see all the other ways to perform besides just doing like a military guy. That's easy. I can wake up and do a military guy anytime, but let me try these other characters. The same thing with storytelling. Let me try other things. So I was shooting weddings, all these other things, models, all that stuff. When I came back around to the narrative stuff, like, what can I do? But I know now, everything I've learned the past 5-6 years, I can bust out. And I was going back to like military stuff. And I was like, you know what? I want to start telling the stories of my friends I've worked with. Like guys, like I have this thing right now that I think that it should be veterans taking the charge on telling our stories. Because there's so many guys now who are transitioning out, who had all these crazy experiences, who lived through, just insane things, that why aren't we the ones telling the stories of the people we served with and got people who served? And so I was like, all right. Then I started doing a lot of proof of concepts of like just different scenarios. And that's kind of where I'm pushing on to right now is what stories can I tell of my friends that I've worked with and their friends, just to create this pretty cool stories. But more narrative now, not so much of like cool promo stuff.
Hey, what's up guys? We are halfway through this week's episode of Guns and Cameras, and it looks like you're doing okay out there, Josh? Good? All right. We're halfway through, and it means it's time for me to tell you this episode has been brought to you by 1156 Productions. If you or somebody you know is in need of high-quality creative visuals or storytelling, whether that be photo, in-studio or lifestyle, video, in-studio or lifestyle, narrative film, documentary, whatever, reach out to me at 1156productions.com, and we'll get something started for you. Also, this episode has been brought to you by Tokens of Valor. Tokens of Valor is my boutique ballistic jewelry company where I take sterling silver, brass, and copper, put them together to create one-of-a-kind, hand-forged, wearable works of art. If you're interested in getting a piece made for yourself, reach out to me on Instagram at Tokens of Valor, send me a DM, and we'll get something started for you. Also, you guys, fun fact, Guns and Cameras now has a full line of merch on a merch store, including patches, stickers, shirts, the works. Go to 1156productions.com, navigate to the menu, click on brand store. If you buy something from there, thank you so much. All the proceeds are just going back into keeping this dream alive, bringing bigger and better guests on the show, and trying to grow. All of that out of the way, we have some amazing stories coming up in the second half of the episode from Mr. Mike Brown. Mike is a fantastic human being, crazy talented, not only in front of the camera, but behind the camera as well, working as a director and a DP. We got a lot of great stuff coming up soon. So while I get back to checking up on Josh, he's had a rough day. You guys enjoy the rest of this week's episode of Guns and Cameras. Yeah, no, I dig that 100%. I just had a chance to, so I'm working with Cody at Genesis Arms out in Post
Okay.
Falls. Cody is sitting on the board right now for organizing one of the Marine Corps balls or the
Cody
banquet.
Alford.
Cody Cohen.
Oh, okay.
He's he asked me to kind of help him with promo videos. So we went down to Boise, Idaho. The ball is being hosted in Boise this year, and so we went to Boise and we reunited this tank crew, M1 Abrams tank crew, that was based out of Iraq back in 2000. I want to say it's 2000. When were they? 2005, I think. Yeah. So, but anyway, it's the name of the tank was Lionheart Tank. It was one of the first Abrams tanks to get destroyed by an IED in Iraq.
Oh wow.
Triple stack mine that they drove over, blew a hole straight through the bottom of the tank. Miraculously, all of the guys survived. Three of them were injured pretty badly, but crazy story. And so we went down, we met with these guys, reunited the tank crew. First time they've been back together in 20 years. Kind of got we got 3 of the 4 of them they told their story on camera. We kind of put this all together. We put this promo. Awesome. And I'm like, the whole time we're down there, I'm like, this would make a great film, right?
Yeah.
Telling the story of what these guys went through, what they did. And I think that there's going to be a lot of opportunity, especially now post GWAT, for a lot of you guys that are veterans that have these stories. Again, especially with the equipment we have now, the distribution channels we have now. It would be awesome to see a lot more self-funded, like veteran-made movies, films, short films, documentaries about the stories of the veterans, of the stuff that they went through. I am going down. I'm actually leaving on Thursday. I'm going down to San Antonio. I'm working with a guy. His name is Paul Reifke. I'm going to tell his story. He was a 20-year Army veteran, got wounded in Afghanistan. I'm going to tell his story. It's one of the first self-funded projects that I've had, so I'm pretty stoked about that. But I think that there's going to be a lot of opportunity, especially for guys like you who have a passion for it, right? Just because, one, you served, you were there, you witnessed the stories, and then to be able to come out of that, apply your talents and gifts into helping tell those stories, I think that's going to be huge. So yeah, dude, I'm pumped for that. So are you working currently on something like that, if I can ask?
I'm trying to. I have a couple ideas that I'm actually floating around. I won't go into too much detail, but a lot of the industry, especially in LA, is like who you know and who actually will, who actually cares to want to help you, right? And then also like, what are you bringing to the table? So part of the reasons why last year I tried to shoot like a couple more concepts was just to show like the quality I can bring to the table, like the team that I work with, and we all can come together with and just create something. Because right now it's like, what's the package you can bring to the table, right? It's not just an individual, it's your whole team and having these connections and all that. So right now I have a couple of things I'm trying to pitch, story wise, documentary wise, and all that, and hopefully, and that just takes time. There's a lot. This game it's a marathon. You got to be very patient and just step by step, each day by day, and to get something finally like set up, the right people, approval, the budget, all that, locations, everybody, the whole crew, down to crafty and all that. So
it's a lot. One of the things I'm curious to get your opinion on is authenticity, right? And you're in it because you've had the opportunity to work on sets of big productions currently as a stunt guy. But I recently had Ben Smallbone on. He's the director of the Homestead film and series now that's being shot by Angel Studios in Salt Lake. And we were talking about through some of the technical difficulty, or not technical difficulties, but insurance, like for example, being able to use, if you're telling a war story, right? The type of weapons or tools you can use, blanks versus, live fire versus airsoft versus VFX, what you can or can't do on a bigger budget production, especially if you're being funded by a production, like a studio or a production house. Are you thinking that for the projects, if you're kind of projecting your production process, how are you going to approach that part of it keeping authenticity within some of the action and violent sequences in these stories?
Yeah, for me, like, my goal is always keep it as authentic as possible, and you have to play with whoever's funding your project. I think so far all my projects, I've been in control of them, like the ones that I've directed. So I'm like, we're using blanks, we're gonna use a crash, like we're gonna do obviously safely, but also too, I've been fortunate the projects I've been on, like the guys I had in it are actual like operators. So like the standard's set, right?
Yep.
Now it's getting the guys to understand camera, which is not as hard as people might think it is, and it's playing to that. But when it goes to like bigger studios, it's you can do a lot. Like even with VFX, sometimes I've had a VFX gunshots in there, and as long as I have a good sound design team and all that, like it's good. I'm always in the belief of if I can make it as practical as possible. For some reason, you know, it becomes like a better project. Like Christopher Nolan, right? Christopher Nolan does almost everything practically, as much as he can practically, and does not use as much CGI as much as possible, right? However you can. And like visually, and you're watching it, you're like, I believe this. I'm there. I'm seeing this is happening. And there's some movies, there's one that came out recently on Netflix, I'm like, that's not real. Like immediately within seconds, I'm like, something is off here. And I'm watching it and I'm like, it's just not good.
Dude, so. I think 100% practical is always going to trump VFX or CGI. CGI, 100% practical will win. And I think that's like one of the things for me, because like my goal, like, dude, I'm tracking with you, man. I would love to, if you need a guy, I'm just going to throw this out there. Let me know, right? I'm only a phone call away, and I travel. Right. I have a passport. I'm ready to go. But for me, coming out of the guns and cameras world, right, working with manufacturers, tactical training companies, defense industry brands, all those, law enforcement, all these guys, you come out of that and you go, you want to tell a story and you want it as real and authentic as possible, but then you find out you have these limitations, especially in narrative. And I think that I'm kind of stoked about it, because I think that there's going to be some storytelling opportunities that come out of this industry, because we just have such wicked talent in it, right? Guys like you, people we've had on the show in the past that understand where you can give and take, because it is a give and take.
It is,
right?
100%.
And I think that's huge, because I think that guys coming out of Hollywood that don't have really a foundation in industry, whether it's prior, veteran military space or gun industry, defensive stuff, there is a disconnect, right? Where it's going to be either all VFX or it's, the practical stuff isn't even an option because they just don't know. And I think that having guys like you, guys like myself, some of the other guys that are coming out that say, hey, look, I understand we have to be safe and we have limitations, but here's where we can do practical effects and have it be safe and realistic, and here's where we can't.
Yeah, no, 100%. I think that I totally agree with that. It's a happy medium, and how do you make everybody happy? And that's why it's like you can get more, like we're telling stories with about the military is I want someone from the military high up there in the hierarchy that has a say. I've seen a lot of times like it's a military show, but the people who actually have the experience and know-how, like what's actually happening, are way down here, and no one's going to listen to them. So for them, it's a money grab, make a cool military show and all that. I think with the movie Warfare coming out, I'm hoping
that's the A24.
The A24, Ray Mendoza, Alex Garland. I think with that coming out, like you can show things as accurately as possible and still tell a great story, right? The sound design that was amazing. The visual was amazing. You're in it with the guys and each character. And a lot of times I've heard in the past, it's like, it won't make sense to people. I was like, you can make it make sense. Like people can understand. It is how you just tell the story and how much leeway you give guys.
Yeah, and I think you're touching on something that's been on top of mind for me this week in particular. I don't know why. It's probably because I'm prepping for this documentary, but has been the integrity of the storyline, right?
Yeah.
Plot integrity, essentially, where you're the first move, it seems like, in Hollywood, and again, I'm generalizing because I'm living outside of it, but it seems like a lot of the movies I've seen, one of the first things that they compromise on is the integrity of the story for the sake of audience participation or understanding, right?
Yeah.
So it's like either they dumb it down because they think that the audience isn't capable of handling a complex thought or idea, or it's just to make it more palatable by a broader audience.
That's just, I think that's just the studios doing what they think is right, and they look at it. I get it; it's a business, right? They have to look at it like, how can I reach the masses for the masses to enjoy this, right? Am I making this a straight military movie that only military people are going to watch, but I'm not going to make any money off of this? And I get that. Like, there's this happy medium. Like, and I was talking to a friend about this. Is how true to the story can you stay? And I think that varies with what you're working on. Sometimes, like how things may read in a book, obviously, it's hard to put it on screen because they don't transfer over. And me being that, I hear guys, this didn't make sense here. I'm like, look, man, like there's certain shows like, hey, like we would have ever hit a target with only 4 guys by itself doing a whole lot. I'm like, I know. But the thing is, like, I can't put 20 guys on camera the whole time and try to tell 20 stories because then I'll lose everybody, right? So you have to take some leeway, and you'll see at times with shows like this person represents 3 or 4 people in a space because I don't have time to tell stories of 500 people, you know, and so I have to tell these little individual stories to make it happen, to push the narrative to go along. And I get that.
100%. But it helps that you speak the language. This is like, it's like I was shooting some stuff with we were doing CQB stuff at a shoot in Colorado, and I was working with a couple of guys, and I was giving direction because they were coming through a doorway, and they were, you know, splitting the room and collapsing their sector and doing what they do in CQB, and I'm like, this is great, right? Like you're digging your corner, you're doing exactly what you're supposed to do in CQB, right? But I'm like, but in camera, it doesn't work. Yeah. Because I lose both of you guys. You come through the door and you just both hit your corners and you're gone. And I have to pick one or the two. I can't get
frame's empty.
Right. And so I'm like, so what I need you to do is come through the door, right? Obviously dig your corner, but then go through the middle of the room. And they're like, well, we'd never do this in real life. And I'm like, I understand.
Yeah.
But for the camera, there has to be a compromise.
I need to fill you in camera. I need to fill you there.
Because we can't cover all these angles and we have limited time. So, but I think that it helps that again, you understand and you can speak the language.
Exactly. Because I see somebody get frustrated. I'm like, look, I understand how we're going to do this, but I mean, look at this. Like, you can't see anybody. I don't know what's going on, right? The audience is going to know what's going on.
Exactly. So, do you want to be in the camera or don't?
Yeah.
You know,
I'm trying to make you famous, bro. Like,
but you're making it real hard for me.
Yeah. Like, help me help you. Like, here, we're going to find this compromise. But like I said, my 2 projects, like the 2 biggest I directed last year, the first one actually, none of the guys had ever been on camera. And if you watch it, like, none of these guys done it. So I reversed it. I said, here's the scene that I need you guys to do. We're doing a hostage rescue. Hit target, the first target, house, dry hole, we're going to flex. Walk it with my DP, because I was directing it on another side of it. Walk it my DP, show them what you're going to need, and then we're going to basically shift things for camera to make sense for the shot. And then, okay, cool, got it. So I'm like, step by step, just walk this action that I need. And then my guys who are on camera, I had 3 camera operators. I said, hey, you guys see this now? I need this shot, this shot, this shot. Place yourselves where I need to be, from externals to interiors, and we'll go from there. So it's a team effort to make it happen, right? And I think that once the team effort's there and both sides understand what's going on, even if they have no idea, like my camera team had no idea about military stuff. The only guy that was there that was leading it was me as directing it, and then all the operators were all military. So, but my guys are just really talented guys. They got it, and they're able to adapt to it and just knock it out. So,
yeah, it'd be fun to find a way, and I think that I think it's possible. I think Act of Valor, I think, came pretty close. Would be able to, finding operators that, one, are great at, on-camera tactics, right? But then can also handle the dialogue and the actual visual performance part of it, right? If you can find those guys that can do both, it's like you're on.
Yeah, one of those guys, he's in the industry. AJ James, the black dude in there. Yeah, he's in the industry. He's working. Yeah.
Dude, that's awesome. Yeah. So this is a question. Moving on, Mike. We got this is a question I ask every guest. It's the oh shit moment question. We all have one. It's either a good or it could be good, could be bad. You can have both. This, I'm sure, in your life and your experience, there's a number of them. But when I ask you, Mike, what's your oh shit moment? What's the first thing that comes to mind?
In my whole life?
Well, let's narrow it down. I mean, your whole life is going to be crazy. So let's say more recent, last 10 years, biggest oh shit moment.
Honestly, I'd probably say is when I got the call for Black Panther. I'm like, oh, this is happening. Like this is it. I'll say that one, and I would say it's actually working on Avatar 3, like seeing James Cameron work. Like I'm being paid to work, and I'm going to film school too, watching like amazing artists do their thing. Like, dude, yeah,
that's crazy. So you've worked on a project that has yet to be. So Avatar 3. Wow, I have so many questions that I know you can't answer.
Nothing. Yeah, like that's the thing, that we work on something, but like it may not come out for like a year or two. Like I'm working on Daredevil, but it's not going to come out until next year, right? But at that point in time, I'm already working on something else that's a year ahead of that, or how many years ahead of that. Like I worked a small part on Avatar 3. Those guys have been working on that thing for like a decade.
Dude, I think that would be
a little bit.
That'd be such a wild. I would love to be able to work on a James Cameron project, just because I feel like out of the guys, I mean, there's a handful of directors that are still heavy hitters in Hollywood, obviously, but I think that he, out of all of them, is one of the dudes that I'm like, this guy is a pioneer. And he's like the tip of the spear for the filmmaking world.
Yeah,
he's just technology and visual effects and
it's nuts. He knows what he wants. He knows exactly how he wants it. It's your job to deliver it. And you're like, all right, let's go do it. Like, and if he doesn't like it, he won't tell you. He doesn't like it. Do it over. All right.
So wait, okay. So I gotta ask. It sounds like, and if this is NDA, you can tell me. But did you receive direct direction from James Cameron?
Yeah. A little bit, but most of my direction came from like my stunt coordinator. So the guys who are running the second unit directing, and then the team. So a lot of times, a lot of films, the second unit director is especially like a big action film, is a stunt guy that's doing it, and may double hat as a coordinator and second unit director, or was a previous stunt coordinator, stunt performer, and became a second unit director.
Yo, dude, that's so crazy cool.
Yeah, you're there. Like, as a stunt guy, you're there. Like, you're getting directed from the director and all that. Hey, I need this, I need that. Like, you're part of the whole team. Yeah.
That's so cool. That's so cool, dude. That's so cool. I'm stoked for you that you get to do that. That's awesome. So how much, this kind of goes into the next question. So how much of the stuff are you gleaning, are you gathering? Like, you're on set with these major productions, but you are also a cinematographer and a DP and a filmmaker. So how much of this are you absorbing and rolling into your own projects?
Tons. I will say that the last two projects I shot, the reason I was able to do that, and at the scale that we did it at, especially the very last one I did for the Seal Future Foundation, is because of all the time I had one behind camera and then being in front of camera and seeing like large scale productions at work, and this fluid machine most of the time creating something. So I'm understanding now how a set works, like what my AD does, what my DP does, all his camera guys, all that, what my grip is doing, to what my producers are wanting, and all that. Like I see it all. So then I directed my projects that it was like, okay, I've seen this, I know this, and I've done it already for smaller projects. So it's not me just jumping into a brand new seat, but it's helped out tremendously. And for that one, it's like we blew up a whole hillside. Like, we brought in helicopters. Like, we had
Yo.
Yeah. We had Fred North, who's
Helicopter pilot. Yeah. I'm a big fan of
He's
his,
done. Everyone has seen
huge
his
stuff,
work.
dude.
Yeah. And he flew for us.
No
So
shit.
he flew for our project, and so it was insane. Like for me, this is like my second like big, like kind of like project I'm directing, and I have Fred North, flying for us. I have talented dudes in front of camera who are prior military are now working in the industry. My AD was from Avatar. Like our special effects guys, that whole team was all Avatar. The DP worked on some Star Wars shows like Mandalorian and stuff. Like you have this stacked team, and I'm just like, and I'm directing, and I'm like,
dude,
all right.
How is
I'm like, it's pretty nuts. I'm like, all right, like, I'm like, y'all probably should be directing it, like, but like, it was cool because like the guys like, that are a little networking work with, like, they backed me, like, hey, it's your idea, like, write it out, and you're directing it. It's you. Like, have fun with it, and we'll support you. We'll be there with you, and that was cool. Like to have that support from your team, and it just gave me the confidence. Oh yeah, I can do this. Like doing it at that large scale like that, like gave me a lot of like confidence to see like, okay, like what's the next level we can get to, So now I'm just like, let's go.
Dude, sky's the limit now, man. I mean, you gotta. I think the next thing for you, and this would just be, you gotta make your own feature film, man. That sounds like
that's the next one I'm trying to like, work out right now. So,
it's gotta happen. Well, again, if you need somebody, I know a guy.
Right? I got you, bro.
Put me in, coach. I want to go.
Got you. Dude, like it just gets bigger and bigger. It's like that's the thing. And this, like when you do your projects, like who's in your Rolodex? Like, hey, I need a camera operator. I need a drone pilot. I need a line producer or whatever. Like, like sometimes I'm like, hey, you want a double hat? You want a DP and produce this for me? Like right. Get in. So yeah, how that goes.
That's crazy. So do you farm out on the post side? So going into post processing, because in-camera captures, a small part of the whole thing. But do you have a team that you send your post work out to, or do you do a lot of it yourself?
So depending on what I'm doing, a lot of the stuff that I do for like businesses still on the side, I edit it.
Cool.
What that's helped me out is that, for instance, the last thing I did for the Still Future Foundation, I had a whole editing team that one of the producers got me in contact with. But what helped me is that because of editing things on my own, I knew how to talk to these editors. Like these guys, like we have guys who are DPs, like these guys are editors, these guys are composers, these guys are colorists. So like they're specialists. And this, like these guys, like this is what they do and they're great at it. But because I've had experience prior to doing my own thing, I knew how to talk to them. So the lead editor, I was like, hey, I gave him shot for shot how I want the story to be edited, right? Just like I need these scenes in there. And I also I'm big on letting my guys create. Whether it's my DP, my cinematographer, all these guys, the drone pilot, like here's a shot that I need. Like make sure you get this clip, but everything else, like have fun with it. Or what do you think? Like how would you shoot this? I'm hiring you. You're brought in as my drone guy. Like, what do you see here? This is what I'm thinking. Do you see something different? And I'm always open to like this or that. And I'm like, hey, I need it to be shot like this. Just take it from me, and then let them do what they gotta do.
I think this is going to be huge. I'm actually pretty stoked. Even again, the more I talk to guys on this podcast, the more I get fired up about the fact that I think that we're going into like this next wave of just brilliant storytellers, because you got guys like you, Mike, that from a director or a producer standpoint, you speak the language of all the different guys because you've done it yourself, right? Like you were your self-made, you ran your own production company, you ran the camera, you directed yourself, you picked the angles, you ran the lights, you learned the stuff, you did the grip, you did all the post work. That from a creative standpoint, even if like you got these guys that went to like film school and they come out as a director and they go straight into directing, it's kind of like you get to come at it from an angle of like, yo, first off, I have a whole life experience from being in the military, right? That gives you perspective. organization skills, structure, chain of command, stuff like that. But then on top of that, you also have a lifetime of knowledge of being able to work in every position. So when you now go to build these teams and do the feature film projects, again, you speak the language of all the individual teams. And I think that we got a lot of guys coming up that are like you, that are going to be able to create some just insane stuff because you can go in and you understand, like, hey, I get what you're doing here, but this is what I want you to do. And again, deliver that in language they understand. So I think that's huge.
For sure. Yeah, I think that's a big thing, and that's definitely helped me out a whole lot so far in this industry.
Crazy, man. So what are you, I mean, you're working on some big stuff, it sounds like, but what are you looking forward to coming up for the rest of this year going into next year?
Our industry, it's been slow, and I've definitely been fortunate that I've actually had work this year on both sides of the camera, stunts and my own stuff. My own things, it's been like kind of small things. I'm shooting for a couple companies. I try to shoot things that I like to do, so this keeps me involved. I'm with my friends doing it, and then stunt stuff. Yeah, it's slowly picking up. I'm kind of hoping that going into the rest of the year, it's kind of stays the way it is, but also picks up some more. There's right now there's always a rumor, hey, like everything's leaving California, AI is taking over, and all that. And I honestly am just like, you know what? I can't really like worry about like where productions are going to go. So I'm not a producer, like at that level. I can produce my own things. That's kind of why I was like, I'm gonna just shoot your own things. I'm like, we're here. I got a camera. I got a team. Let's shoot a story. But I'm hoping that I can either shoot something on my own, direct / produce something on my own by the years, or get something like rolling to be shot for next year, and then still just keep grinding away at becoming a better performer, stunts and acting. That's kind of my thing. Like the more things I can work on, get that experience, get that reputation as a solid performer, then check. The more things I can get to that I'm directing, producing, check. So.
Is there a skill in stunts that you're working on right now that's kind of like your white whale?
Doing a lot more. I'm trying to do a lot more driving. I love cars, and so I would just love to do more car stunts, if possible. That's
sweet. So I'm gonna look for you in Fast and Furious 24 or something like that, right?
Yeah, they're probably gonna be hiring me.
Yo, they're gonna keep making those
movies. Those guys, the guys on that, a guy's been driving like 20-some years for like can like stop a car on a dime. Like it's pretty nuts what those guys can do. Like I'm like, I can slide the car down the street if you want.
Hey man, guys, they're gonna, like I said, they're gonna be making those movies until the world ends. So I'm sure you're gonna have.
Oh yeah. At some point I'll get there, but yeah, those guys that doing car stunts on there are
dude, the
insane.
way that story has been evolving, by the time they get to Fast 25, it's going to be like they're going to be in space or on Mars or something.
Yeah, I was like, who knows where it's going to go? It's like Fast 100 soon. By the time we're like 90 years old, we're like, this is still on?
Dude, that was one of the... I think that movie franchise has been one of the most wild ones to watch growing up, because like Dominic Toretto goes from being like this guy that's just a street racer to now he's like, working on... Black Ops projects.
Saving the world.
Where did this storyline just take a dog leg off? But man, crazy.
Some of the scenes in there, I'm like, what role are we playing in? Because like, there's that one scene with The Rock. He's holding the truck on the helicopter, and I'm like, all right, like here we go. Cool scene. Like, it's cool, but I'm like, where are we?
Dude, I know. Like I went back and I watched. I was on a flight down to, I think, California. I was doing a project in downtown LA, and I was flying down. I was like, I'm gonna watch Fast and Furious, right? Because we're going down to Cali, and it's like, I get in that zone. But
such a sick film, though.
Dude, the first two, I think, are like the first 2 or 3. They should have wrapped them there, or at least did like a sub series or something. But tough to beat, man. Classic.
But it's the business, so like, hey, they know, like, I get it, like they know it's gonna make money.
Oh, dude, I still go watch them. Man.
Yeah, so exactly. That's why they make them. Because people are still gonna watch them. Like
there's nothing else to watch. Exactly. I'm gonna go see the Fast and Furious movie.
Yeah, can't knock it. It works. It's bringing millions of dollars in. All right.
So crazy. All right, man. So Michael, wrapping it up here, what are some words of inspiration that you could give to people who are up and coming, guys that have just got out of the service or are thinking about maybe what they could do? What's some words that you could give those people?
Be patient, especially guys who are trying to get into the entertainment field. Be very patient, and even guys who are just getting out who don't know what their next chapter is. Right, you're ending one chapter to open up a new one. Be very patient, and then figure out who you are. A lot of times we're tied back to what the job was. What our degrees are, and people outside the military advice. That's not who you are. So I always tell guys, answer this question. You don't have to rush to it. Tell me who you are. Don't tell me your job, and don't tell me your degrees. Once you start figuring that out, your transition from the military begins, and you start figuring out who you are as a person.
That's huge. You guys, if you're watching this and you're listening, take that advice. That's huge. Mike, real quick, is that Seal Future Foundation video out yet? Is that done?
Yeah, it's done. We did it last year. It's on my page. It's it's kind of funny because a lot of people are like, you shot this video. I'm like, yeah, like blew up a whole hillside, all this stuff. But yeah, it's on my page on social media. It's up there with a couple other things I've done.
Yeah, guys, if you're watching, check out Seal Future Foundation. I just got registered, I think, as a mentor on SFF, which is kind of fun. So lots of opportunities.
Great organization. Great people who run it. Doing a lot for the community. So definitely grateful to be able to help out, be a part of that.
Mike, kind of wrapping up. Well, first off, I have another question for you. And then we'll wrap it up.
Ahead, dude.
But are you still running on Canon cameras? What kind of gear are you running right
now? I'm rocking a Sony. I'm rocking my Sony A7S III, and it works, man. I think I can push that camera hard, but I'm in a torn between if I wanted to go to an FX3 or I want to wait to see if they drop a FX3 2.
Dude, I don't know, man. I don't like the consumer camera thing. You know what I mean? I run 2 FX3s and they've been great cameras.
Great.
And I'll probably still keep running them. I got an A7 III, I got an A7R5, and I got the 2 FX3s, and they're all great. And I'll run them all.
Dude, I'm with you on that. Like, the only reason I want to get another camera is to have an A and B camera set up. Mm-hmm. And I have an R3 as well. Dude, so that's my photography. And that thing works. I beat the shit out of it.
Dude, I don't know that they're gonna drop. Because everybody, it's so funny. You get on YouTube and they're like, "When's the FX3 II gonna drop?" And I'm like, you guys, it'll drop when it drops, and it's probably not gonna be an FX3 II because that sounds like the most ridiculous name for a camera. It'll be something else. Like they just dropped the FX2, and the FX2 technically,
I saw that
is I don't know what Sony's doing with their cinema camera line.
Nah.
You know what I mean? It's like, it's whatever. I would hope that the camera I'm upgrading to, if anything, would be renting like an ARRI or like some of the bigger camera bodies.
Yeah.
Realistically, buddy, it's like with the FX3s, FX6s, I mean, those cameras are so good at capturing a nice image that, the only thing I think they could maybe add would be like open gate, right? Super 35 full frame. Do that. But that might be a software patch thing. It might not even be.
Those cameras, they're great. That's why I'm like, because I was like, should I just buy the FX3 and that's it? And I have my A and B camera set up, and if I need a bigger camera, I can just rent it out, an ARRI, a Red.
Save the money. Whatever. I got no complaints. Look, that camera crushes. I've got zero complaints with the FX3s. Even with the VND thing, because guys are like, is it worth paying an extra $3,000 for internal ND? Like, I don't know. I run a matte box on most of my stuff anyway, and I've got a VND that I slide in there. I like the look I get from that versus just having internal. But to each their own.
It all comes down to the camera operator and what you can make work.
Dude, exactly. Storytelling, man.
Yep.
You can do it with your iPhone. If you're a good storyteller. Right? All right, man. If somebody wants to, I want you to plug yourself here. So what are your social channels? If somebody wants to hire you to work for, give you paid work for either DP, directing, producing type stuff, how do they get a hold of you?
Best thing is this Instagram. I don't really have a huge social media footprint. Instagram is Mike_T_Brown. And that's about it. And then feel free to reach out with any questions or whatnot. I do have a video, but I only use that to send out to people that want to see my work all together. But that's it. Yeah.
Dude, that's
no
awesome.
No phone numbers.
No phone numbers. You guys, go check out Mike's work on Instagram. Give him a follow. Give him some engagement. His channel, or handle, I should say, once more, is at Mike_T_Brown. Go check it out. Give him some love because he does some great work. And there's going to be, I'm sure, lots of awesome coming up in the future because it sounds like he's worked on, or is currently working on, some pretty insane projects. So be sure to check that out. Michael, thank you so much for being on the Guns and Camera podcast. I appreciate you. And again, like I said, man, if you ever need a guy,
for sure, dude. Same for you, dude.
Phone call away, my friend.
You need someone to go grab your coffee, bro, to help you on set? Let me know, dude.
You got it. Next time I'm down. So where are you at in California located exactly?
Yeah, I'm in LA. I'm right basically on the border. Yeah, I'm right in LA. Beverly Hills.
All right, cool. Next time I'm down that direction, I'm gonna give you a call. We're gonna hang out.
Yeah, hit me up, dude.
Yeah, it's gonna be awesome. You guys, thanks so much for hanging out. This has been Guns and Cameras. Mike, any last words?
Yeah. Thanks. Hey, thank you for having me on. Hopefully this helps somebody out, just one person to want to dive into this industry. And again, if you guys are watching this, feel free to reach out. So always glad to help out.
You guys, take him up on it. He's got a lot of knowledge. All right, you guys, thanks for hanging out. Have a great. I'm gonna try this again. You guys, thanks for hanging out. This has been Guns and Cameras. Have a great night. That's it. That's the end of this week's episode of Guns and Cameras, featuring Mike Brown, stuntman, director, DP, and combat veteran. Mike is an amazing individual and has way more crazy stories than what we covered today. I mean, we just scratched the surface, so we'll have to maybe invite Mike back on Guns and Cameras a little bit later, especially since it sounds like he has an appearance somewhere in Avatar 3, so we're gonna have to find out more about that. But you guys, thanks so much for hanging out. If you don't already follow Mike, go to Instagram, go to Mike_T_Brown, give him a follow, check out some of his work. And yeah, be sure to stay tuned. Thanks for watching Guns and Cameras. We've got a lot of more great stuff coming in the works. And I guess all that's left for me to do is go relax, drink a cold beer on a nice summer day. You guys have a great day now. See ya.